Welcome back. How about a little bit of Monday motivation for you today? Now, a lot of times rejections happen, and they're a natural occurrence in life, and they occur on the way to success, and they can be quite hard to accept, especially when you're just starting out and you're getting all these no's from left, right, and center, and it can be really, really hard to deal with. Now, how to handle rejection will be the focus of our Monday motivation with Fola Daniel Adelesi this morning, who was a trainer and professional speaker. And he's also an author and a blogger as well. Good to have you join us. Rejection is a big deal.
True.
For many people. And I know that, sometimes when you say rejection, you're thinking about someone who's an adult and, is already going through a job. But even sometimes getting into a secondary school can be very, very difficult. And when it doesn't happen, even for kids,
very true.
Maybe at 11 or 12, when you're trying to enter secondary school,
Very
it
true.
could be tough. And then you write JAMB, you don't get into the university, maybe you're rejected. And then you come out of the university, you're trying to get a job. So it happens in many different, so it looks like rejection happens at different stages of life.
Yes, it even happens earlier than getting into secondary school or even at secondary school level. You find that, for example, at a very tender age, you find the child who is speaking very fast and you find the other child who is not speaking quickly, and the parent seems to make the one who is speaking things quickly the favorite in the family. So rejection has already started. But at whatever level that rejection is starting, the first thing you must note is to not allow rejection become the definition of who you are. Don't let rejection become the definition of who you are. If somebody doesn't like what you do, how you do it, when you do it, or the way you do it, it doesn't mean that what you're doing is not good. It doesn't mean that you are not good. For example, somebody says you didn't pass WAEC, and the only thing is that you didn't pass it this year. It doesn't mean that you don't have the capacity to pass it or that you can pass it the next year. We've had people, in our own days, we've had people who wrote JAM like 4 times, 5 times. So when you get into the university and, you're feeling like, oh, you did it and stuff like that, and some big bros in the class wants to wash you. You say, oh, boy, go and sit down. How many times you write JAM?
Yeah.
You say, when you write JAM, only once you enter school. You say, I wrote JAM 4 times, and you're like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
And it happened, but the good part was that they didn't give up. Now, that's the message we have to pass across. There are times when it may not happen the first time, it may not happen the second time, and many of us are used to getting things done the first time and getting the results the first time. So if you're the kind of person that gets the result the first time, the second time, it becomes difficult to handle rejection when it happens. And rejection will happen for some people early in life, so they understand how to handle it later. Rejection may not happen for some people early in life, so they don't understand how to handle it when it eventually happens. But most importantly, prepare your mind. There will be root shocks along the line.
I like what you're saying about it happening sometimes. People aren't used to it.
Yes.
In other areas, there are some other people who maybe they've been successful in one area, and they then encounter another area, and then they discover
There's a setback.
There's a setback. Yeah. They discover rejection in this area, and they don't really know how to handle it because they've always been used to success. Yeah. Now, one of the things I want to do on the show today is how to deal with such
rejection.
Circumstances when they do occur.
The first thing is take a look at a situation where someone grows up in a family where there's a lot of money and you get things done with money. Then you get to a particular situation and you realize that money is not able to fix the problem. At that point, the person is frustrated, the person is flustered, and you're thinking you've been able to do so much with money. How come money can't fix this one? What you have to learn is that you first of all calm down. You don't judge yourself by that result that you're not able to get in that situation immediately. You first of all ask yourself questions. What are the other ways around these things? Is this about the issue on ground, or is it about me? In other words, is it that I'm not good enough, or is it that I am not prepared enough for these things? Is this something I'm even supposed to be doing? If it's something you're not supposed to be doing and you have rejections, it's easy. Just step away. But if it is something that you're supposed to be doing, then you need to start asking questions. How should I be doing this thing? Or how is it done?
One of the things that, I'm sure that people watching now and they're asking themselves is, there are some people who, they've gotten used to rejection and they don't expect anything good. So I've applied for a visa 10 times. And all the 10 times I've been declined. In fact, maybe I've done 5 countries in Europe. I've done America, Canada, all of them have stamped. So my passport is looking like a mutilated piece of property. How do I deal? How do I, sitting here and I'm saying to myself that I'm a failure and I'm thinking, what's my next step? What's my next move? Having encountered rejection for so long.
If you've encountered rejection, the first thing is to check yourself first and ask yourself what your purpose is, what you're supposed to be doing, or what you really want to do. Now, if you're sure that this is what you really want to do, then you must not accept all those rejections as a final verdict on your capacity. Once you don't take it as a final verdict on your capacity, you have to keep reinventing yourself to be able to get the desired result. For example, if men have rejected you all the time, or if women have rejected you all the time, do you just give up on marriage? Most people don't. They keep trying again. If you try the first time you're not able to have a child, do you just give up on having children? No, most people don't. For 20 years, people keep trying to have a child. For 30 years, people keep trying to have a child. Now, some people try to travel abroad, and it's not able to work. But you know what are the things I've noticed? When people give up trying to go abroad and stuff like that, face what they have the capacity to do here, then the doors start opening for them. So you may want to look inwards, call it introspection. What are the things that you have the capacity to do? When you start doing those things right, the same people who are rejecting you start asking you to come around.
So in some cases, rejection might mean that you're focusing on the wrong thing.
Exactly.
So you have your eyes and your focus and your
on
desires
the wrong thing.
On the wrong
So
thing.
when you now focus on what you really have the capacity for and what you should be doing, and you do it excellently well, emphasis on doing it excellently well, then the same people that you have been begging, the same people whose attention you were seeking, they're the ones who will come back to you.
Does this also apply to job seekers? So maybe I've graduated for the past 3 years or 4 years. I mean, we're rounding off now very quickly.
Absolutely, it applies to job seekers.
Applying, maybe every Monday I'm sitting in front of the computer, applying here and there. I've applied to all the 25 banks. I've applied to all the other companies.
I was listening to Mrs. Ibukwan-Woshika several years back, and she was talking about a young lady who came to volunteer in their office. And this lady said, look, I don't want any money and all of it. I'll just volunteer. Now, at the end of the day, they felt bad that this person was going to volunteer. I mean, how can this person volunteer and would not give her something at the end of the month? So they started giving her something. Eventually, she got a job. So she didn't go there to say, I want a job. If she had gone there to say, I want a job, she probably wouldn't have gotten it. As a job seeker, it might be that you have something else that you're good at, and it might be a business that you should start. But even if you don't have a business to start, if it's a job that you must get, why don't you revamp your CV? Look at the way you're doing it. And one of the things, when it comes to employability, one of the things I keep telling people is don't apply for every job. You're doing yourself a great disservice when you keep applying for every job. Carve a niche. Let your CV, let your resume reflect a niche. If you're a communications person, apply for jobs strictly in the communications industry. If you're a PR person, go strictly for PR. If you're in adverts, go for... So that way you narrow your search, even on LinkedIn and other platforms. So don't handle rejection as a final verdict on your personality or capacity.
Yeah, Fola Daniel, Adelesi, thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
And I know that you started going into this career talk, because I know that's one of the things that you also like to do as well. But thank you. You're dealing with rejection. So go out there and do something great this new week, some Monday motivation.